Good afternoon, everyone. It is 1:49 p.m. on Thursday, October the 8th, 2020, and you are at the regular board meeting of the Sunshine Coast Regional District. I'd like to acknowledge that the Sunshine Coast Regional District operates on the traditional territories of the Sewage and the Squamish First Nations. And myself today, I am actually coming from you from a different location in Alberta. I'm in my hometown of Rocky Mountain House, which is located on the traditional territory of the Blackfoot, which is Nitsitapi, the Tsuut'ina, the Michif-Pia, which is also the Métis homeland, and the Cree, and this is also within the current Treaty 6 area. So welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We have an amended agenda in front of us today. So before I ask for a motion to amend this or to adopt the amended agenda, are there any other items that need to be added to this today? I'll look to directors or to staff. Seeing none, may I have a motion to adopt our amended agenda, please? So moved, Director Toth, seconded Director Seegers. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. First up, I'm going to ask for a motion to receive all minutes and reports, please. So moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Next item up on our agenda are regular board meeting minutes of September 10th, 2020, Annex A, pages 1 through 8 of our package. Directors, may I have a motion to adopt those minutes, please? So moved and seconded. Are there any changes, errors, or omissions before we fully adopt those? Before I call the question. Sorry, it's a little bit off my rhythm yet, but give me a moment and I'll get into things here. It's been a while since we've met. Are there any changes, errors, or omissions to the minutes before I call the question? Seeing none, I will call the question, please. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Is there any business arising from the minutes or unfinished business? No? Okay, we have no presentations and delegations today. We have a number of reports in front of us. We have received all of the reports, so I will we'll go through these one by one and see if there's any of them that directors would like to further debate. So the first up on our list is the Planning and Community Development Committee recommendations of September 10th, 2020, numbers 3, 7 through 14, 6 to 22. Annex B, pages 9 through 15 of your package. Directors, before we adopt those as a block, are there any of those you would like to pull out to separately debate? Okay, seeing none, may I ask for a motion to adopt these recommendations, please? So moved, seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, number 4, the Infrastructure Services Committee recommendations, numbers 1 through 20 of September 17th, 2020. This is Annex C, pages 16 through 21 of your package. Directors, would you like to pull out any of these recommendations before we adopt them as a block? Seeing none, may I ask for a motion to adopt, please? So moved, Director Toth, seconded Director Kroll. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up, number 5 on our agenda, Annex D, pages 22 to 24 of the package. The Corporate and Administrative Services Committee recommendations, numbers 1 through 9 of September 17th, 2020. Directors, would you like to pull out any of these recommendations before we adopt them as a block? Seeing none, may I ask for a motion to adopt, please? Director Seegers, seconded Director McMahon. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Next up, 5A, the Planning and Community Development Committee recommendations numbers 2 and 8 through 10 of October 8th, 2020, earlier today. This is pages 24A and B of our amended agenda package. Directors, would you like to further debate any of these recommendations before we adopt them as a block? I guess we've had, I'm going to use the word fulsome discussion for Director McMahon. No, she doesn't like that word. We've had an extensive discussion on these recommendations today, and so may I ask for a motion to adopt these recommendations, please? So moved, seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you, motion carries. Next up, number 6, 2020 Provincial Cabinet Ministerial Meeting Notes, Chief Administrative Officer. This is Annex E, pages 25 to 31 of the package. I will pass it over to our CAO, Mr. McKinley. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just wanted to acknowledge Tracy Hinks for all the excellent work she did on taking all the notes during all those meetings, and I really appreciated her putting together the meeting summary notes and helping out with the board report. Thank you.
Terrific. Directors, do you have any questions or comments on the cabinet ministerial meetings that we had, or on the notes that are in the package? I have Director McMahon first, please.
Yeah, I was just wondering if we shouldn't come back and look at these again after the election, as we're dead in the water right now.
No wind in our sails? Well, we have, yes, that's a good way. Yeah. Director Toth?
I don't know. We're a bunch of politicians. I think we got lots of wind in our sails. I just wanted to take a moment real quick to actually say thank you to Rcmp. My meeting was up first. We didn't really have a template. This is about ICI. And in preparing for it, I realized that everything that we were looking to discuss didn't make a whole lot of sense. So I just wanted to say thank you to him for making himself available on really short notice so that we could go into this, we could hash it out, figure out what exactly we were looking for, and get a successful meeting out of it. We got everything we asked for, and I'd love to say that was due to our prep work, but we got what we asked for 2 days before we went into the meeting. So there we go. Thank you, Rcmp.
Next up, I have Director Kroll, please.
Thank you, Chair. Just to echo Director McMahon's comment, there were really positive meetings, and I think there was some good dialogue, but obviously in light of the election outcome and certain ministers that we spoke to who aren't even running, I'd sort of look to staff, and we probably a revisit of these notes after the election, and blazing new trails and inroads after the election might be necessary. So just so we can keep feet to the fire, I would like to see a review of the notes and a follow-up with any new people who may be in power.
Okay, Director Seegers.
Thank you. Last year we started Team Sunshine Coast, and this year we took it to another level. So I have to say it was a lot of fun working with everybody up and down the coast. I like the way we split up leading so that there wasn't, a lot of prep for each person. I think we came prepared to those meetings. And what I noticed was after we'd done a few of them, because I think we had 14 meetings or something that week, I started hearing some of the ministers saying, "Oh, is this Team Sunshine Coast?" So they were anticipating that. And the feedback I've also gotten from some of the other areas is that nobody else in the province is doing this. So this is something that we've taken on, and I think it really is making an impact. So I think as we go forward with doing some of the follow-up on this, we might want to also consider using that as a template for moving some of these forward. So thank you to staff for all your support in putting these forward. Thank you to my team members up and down the coast. Excellent job.
Director Hiltz. Oh, sorry, Director Ties and then Director Hiltz.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, just a quick comment. I think we had a pretty good discussion about the foundation agreement and moving forward. But overall, I can see how, through days and days of meetings, that for the ministers, all of these meetings sort of become a blur, especially if you're spending 8 hours on Zoom. So while I value the face-to-face meetings, or I valued the face-to-face meetings last year, I don't know how meaningful our meetings this year really were, considering the overload that the ministers must be getting. But I think a follow-up with future ministers, as well as the ones that are staying in office, just to make sure that that we're being heard, I think is essential. Thank you.
Okay, Director Hiltz.
Yeah, I'd like to continue on that Team Sunshine Coast theme. That in the past, the boundaries of the Sunshine Coast have always been seen as a detriment to the Sunshine Coast. And when Matt Popson mentioned that it's nice that you can draw all the lines around the Sunshine Coast. So it is a fairly unique perspective. Cathette has it, but it is a unique perspective that the Sunshine Coast brings to provincial matters. So it's totally successful. And in terms of the responses that we get, one of the things I got out of UBCM is that it's the professional public service that's the staff, and part of preparing the notes is for them to engage with the provincial public service to build bridges, which I never even thought of before. So there's a lot of work that goes into it, and it will pay dividends in the coming years as well. It's not just the next month or two, but going forward. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Director McMahon.
Yes, and also on the Team Sunshine Coast theme, we have not had an intergovernmental meeting for the Sunshine Coast governments in some time now. We're due. I think it's time. And one of the items we could put on the agenda would be our advocacy priorities for next year.
That's a great idea, Director McMahon. Our last intergovernmental meeting was COVIDed. We did end up doing an informal electronic meeting via Zoom that I hosted, and which was still very well attended. So I think we could still, we're all getting familiar enough with this method, and we could even do a webinar function or something like that. So let's revisit that, and we can look at it with the rest of the governments on the coast and find some dates that might work. We're at the end of our speakers list on this item. I'd just like to also echo the gratitude for Tracy and our other executive assistants at the other governments for all of the work that they did with coordinating all of the meetings. They did a fantastic job. And thank you to CEOs and the senior leadership team that made sure we were well prepared going into these meetings. And we, Director Toth, I think you dropped the mic and set the bar really high with that first meeting on how we were going to, and then also Director McMahon, that script that you had for each one of the items was gold, like absolute gold. So it's really that team approach that works. Director Toth, I see your hand up.
Yeah, just a real quick question. Do we ever send follow-up thank you letters to the ministers for taking the time to meet with us, and just to remind them of what our issues are? I know that, with the election and what have you, it's going to be kind of different, but I'm thinking even post-election, when the new cabinet's announced, it might be worth we met previously with your ministry. These were our issues, congratulations on your election. We look forward to hearing from you soon.
Well, and there's certainly nothing from stopping us from doing that, as well as sending even a thank you letter to the ministers that we did meet with, and because then it can be shared with any department I'm going to look to our corporate officer. Would you like us to have a motion along that? By CAO McKinley, I saw your hand up.
Yes, we typically write thank you letters each year after
Oh,
the meeting.
beautiful. Okay, so we don't need to motivate that at all. It's already, our manners are already in place.
We're all good.
Thank you to staff for keeping us polite and well mannered. I know it's difficult. So, okay, terrific. Seeing no other questions or comments on that, once again, thank you to everyone involved, and I love the Team Sunshine Coast approach. I think it's fantastic. So, next up on our list is the 2019-2023 Amended Strategic Plan. I'm going to go over to CAO McKinley again, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Just wanted to recognize again all the directors, senior leadership team. Huge thanks to Mark Brown for facilitating, and to Tracy for doing all of the organizing. And I also wanted to note the excellent job that Cecilia Garcia did on the changes to the actual strategic plan document itself. And I really appreciated the way that she visualized visualized your moving the community resilience and climate change adaptation into the focal area of the center of the diagram. And I think it worked out pretty well.
Terrific. Okay, so before we go back to the fully adopting this update, directors, do you have any questions or comments regarding this document that you'd like to make, or questions to staff, or while everyone's thinking about those burning questions they might have, I would like to say thank you so much to the staff, the senior leadership team, Tracy, and to Mark Brown as well for being part of that meeting, our first socially or physically distanced meeting in a group altogether in a very, very long time. That was, it was a great conversation for all of us, and as we, reviewed and moved things around a little bit, but it was a lot of it was a lot of fun, and it was a good couple of days. Director McMahon, please.
Yeah, it was good to have the opportunity to sit down and look at the bigger picture. I'll just note that our time is getting shorter and our plan is getting longer. So there it is.
That is true. Oh. Okay. Any other comments or questions? Seeing none, I will ask for a motion that the 2019-2023 strategic plan be adopted as presented. Or it should it say amended strategic plan? Corporate officer?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I will ask for a motion that the amended 2019-2023 strategic plan be adopted as presented. So moved Director Seegers, seconded Director McMahon. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. So no communications, no motions today, but we've got bylaws. We've got just a couple today. Okay. All right. So we are going to start with number 8, which is Annex G of your package, page 50 to 52. And this is the Egmont-Pender Harbor OCP amendment bylaw. So we're looking for first and second reading. This is voting on this as electoral area directors only. So may I ask for a motion for first reading of Egmont-Pender Harbor Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 708.2 2020. So moved Director Ties, seconded Director Lee. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. Rural directors only. All those in favor? Motion carries. And I will ask for a motion for second reading of Egmont-Pender Harbor Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 708.2 2020. So moved second reading, Director Lee, and seconded Director Ties. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. Annex H, page 53 to 56 of the package. And we're looking for first and second reading on this item. And it's electoral area directors only for this vote. And so may I ask for a motion for first reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Electoral A zoning amendment bylaw number 337.122/2020. So move first reading, Director Lee, and seconded by Director Ties. Any discussion on this item? Director McMahon?
Is this not usually the time we schedule a public hearing or at least assign a chair to a public hearing?
So process question for first or it's after second reading, I believe, but I'll go to the corporate officer to officially give us when we would assign, what point in the process we schedule a public hearing during bylaw readings. Corporate officer?
Our procedure is to normally schedule it after second reading, typically in the planning committee meeting. The recommendation would be that the bylaw be given 2 readings and the public hearing be scheduled. So I will refer to GM Hall.
GM Hall?
Thank you for the question, Chair. I was just checking. Yes. Earlier in today's meeting, the board approved recommendation number 7 from September 10th Planning and Community Development Committee meeting, which directed staff to schedule the hearing. And you, Director Pratt, will be chairing the public hearing with Director Lee as the alternate chair. So staff will be working with you and the applicant to schedule this. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you for that reminder, GM Hall, and to our corporate officer, and for us for not directly connecting the dots. It's been a long day so far. Okay, so we have had that moved and seconded. I'll call the question. All those in favor of first reading? Thank you. Motion carries. And may I have a motion for second reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Electoral Area A zoning amendment bylaw number 337.122/2020. So moved second reading, Director Lee, seconded by Director Ties. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor, electoral area directors? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, Annex I, page 5759 of our package. We're looking for third reading and adoption. This is electoral area directors only, 1 vote each. So may I have a motion for third reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.178/2018. So move third reading, Director Hiltz. Seconded, Director McMahon. Thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question.
Sorry, point of order.
Yes.
On the agenda, it says 2018. On the bylaw, it actually says 1987. So just clarification.
Okay. Just one moment. Sorry, I have to just switch between documents. Staff, if GM Hall or corporate officer, if you wanted to speak to that, corporate officer, please.
Thank you, Chair. So the original citation is in the header of the bylaw. So it was initially adopted in 1987, but the amendment bylaw is dated 2018. So the bylaw is, the amendment bylaw for 2018 is to amend the bylaw from 1987. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. I see a nod from Director Seegers, so terrific. Okay. So that has been moved and seconded. I'm going to call the question on that. Electoral area directors only. All those in favor? Thank you. That passes. We will now look for a motion to adopt Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.178/2018. A motion to adopt, please. So moves Director Hiltz, seconded Director McMahon. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Okay, next up, number 11 in our package, Annex J, pages 60 to 61. We're also looking for third reading and adoption. So may I ask for a motion for third reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.184, 2018. So move third reading. Electoral Area Directors. Director Ties, I see you. Move it. May I have a seconder, please? Seconded, Director Hiltz. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Motion carries. Thank you. And I will ask for a motion to adopt Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.184, 2018. So moved adoption. Director Hiltz, and seconded. Director Ties, thank you. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And up next, number 12. Oh, how many more of these do we have? Number 12, Annex K, pages 62 to 63 of our package. We are looking for third reading and adoption of this item as well. This is, once again, is electoral area directors only. And so may I ask for a motion for third reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Electoral Area A Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 337.118, 2018. So move third reading, Director McMahon, seconded Director Lee. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And we'll now look for a motion to adopt Sunshine Coast Regional District Electoral Area A Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 337.118, 2018. So moved adoption. Director Lee, seconded Director Ties. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Next up, Annex L, page 64 to 66 of our package. We're looking for third reading and adoption. Once again, this is electoral area directors only. And this is for third reading. If I can have a motion for third reading of West House Sound Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 640.3, 2020. So move third reading, Director Hiltz, seconded Director McMahon. Any further discussion on this item? Or any discussion on this item? Director Hiltz, I see you. Yes, please, go ahead.
I just wanted to, that there was verification that a letter of intent of the applicant to be secured by a solicitor for Habitat Humanity has been done. So just to reiterate, that was a condition of this. So that's assurances from staff that was done. So thank you,
Okay.
staff.
Okay, and GM Hall, I see a nod to that, so.
Yes,
Yes.
I can confirm that.
Thank you. Thank you, GM Hall. Okay, so that's great. Thank you, Director Hiltz, for confirming that as well and bringing that up. I will call the question on this. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. We will now look for adoption of West House Sound Official Community Plan Amendment Bylaw number 640.3, 2020. So move adoption. Director Hiltz, seconded by Director Lee. Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'd like to call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Up next, we have another bylaw reading, and it's Annex M, pages 67 to 70 of our package. We're looking for third reading and adoption, and wow, electoral area directors, you have the vote again. So we are looking for third reading of Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.188, 2020. So moved third reading, please, Director McMahon, thank you, and seconded. Do I have a seconder? Seconded, Director Ties. Do we have any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And up next, we have Sunshine Coast Regional District Zoning Amendment Bylaw number 310.188, 2020. We are looking for adoption on this. May I have a motion to adopt, please? Director Toth, I saw, no, you can't. You're not an electoral area director. But I do have Director Hiltz, who is a rural area director, and he is moving this. And may I have a seconder, seconded by Director McMahon? And are there any further other comments on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Up next, we have Annex N, page 71 of our package, and we are looking for adoption. And what do you know? All directors get to vote on this. So I'm going to look for a motion to adopt Square Bay Community Sewage Treatment System Service Capital Reserve Fund Bylaw number 726/2020. So moved adoption. Director Seekers, and seconded by Director Toth. Is there any further conversation or any further comments on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor of adoption? Thank you, and thank you to our municipal directors for staying online with us for this. Up next, Annex O, page 72 of a package. Once again, it's all directors get to vote on this item, and we're looking for adoption of the Lilly Lake Community Sewage Treatment System Service Capital Reserve Fund Bylaw number 727/2020. So moved adoption. Director Seekers, seconded by Director Kroll. Way to get in there. Are there any other comments on this item? Seeing none, I will call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. And we flip the page to another bylaw. And it's the last bylaw. And once again, all directors get to vote on this item. It's Annex P, page 73 of our package. And we're looking to adopt the Saginaw Ridge Community Sewage Treatment System Service Capital Reserve Fund Bylaw number 728/2020. So moved adoption, please. Director Seekers, Director Toth as a seconder. Any further discussion on this item? Seeing none, I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Thank you. Motion carries. Okay, so we're going to give my voice a little chance for a break, and I'm going to let the rest of you speak for a while as we go on to our director's reports, which are all verbal. And I am going to start with Director Hiltz, West Howe Sound. What's going on in Area F?
Yeah, the last month feels like 3 months, and I think COVID has put a multiplier on our time. It just, I cannot believe how much is going on constantly. So I'm not going to think too much about the past right now. I'm going to, October 23rd is the virtual Howe Sound Community Forum at 10 to 12 virtually. So if you have never been able to participate in the Howe Sound Community Forum, it's an opportunity to see what the hinterlands or the other side of Howe Sound is like. So I'm just going to leave it there because that's the most significant thing in the upcoming for me right now. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you.
Yes, the last month into 3, the COVID multiplier. I like that. Well, not really, but it's true. So thank you, Director Hiltz. Next up, Director Lee and Area A, Pender Harbor and Egmont.
Busy trying to get my mouse straight here. It's actually been quite quiet other than the UBCM. But we've had quite a few wastewater meetings, and I got to say, our staff did a lot of work, and they were very well done, and they were all tailored for each plant, and they demonstrated a pretty thorough knowledge of a lot of plants. I was very impressed, including the options that were offered and the way it was explained. The only thing I think maybe we might consider going forward when we have these community meetings is that we make them more like our directors meetings where everybody can see everybody, and we take a chance on free-for-alls happening, but I think it's a little better when it's done like this. But anyways, we're over that now, but that's just something to think about in the future. I liked UBCM, but I would have liked to see more time on the resolutions, especially the ones that weren't categorized at the end. It's that makes it a lot more interesting. We get to hear from everybody and get to talk about new things rather than the same old resolutions made year after year. So I thought that was something we could have done. And there's a new phenomena here, and that is people are asking for face-to-face meetings now, and with theoretically spaced distance. But when you get into contentious issues, those spaces tend to get shut down rather quick. So I'm not taking very many of those. I offer the Zoom meetings instead. If I know the people and I've got a working relationship with them, I'm comfortable with the physical distance. But when it's people I don't know, it's not something I'm going to get into. So it's just something to be prepared for and have your answer ready. But that's been my answer. So that's the report for Area A. Other than the weather's been great.
Thank you, Director Lee. Thank you. Okay, up next on my list, I have Director Tives and the Area D report, please.
Sure. Well, it has been an eventful last month. And of course, we did go to UBCM. At some point, Director McMahon and I went on a hike of Dakota Bowl. That was put on by Sarah Lois and the Living Forest Institute as well. And we got a nice guided tour by Ross Muirhead and Hans Penner. And it was a really good turnout. Rcmp was there, and Kim Darwin, and a few scientists from UBC. And it was really neat to go see some alpine, true old growth forest. And yeah, it was a really lovely day. So thank you for those folks for putting it on. And it does blow my mind that there's still very little value put on a standing forest by the provincial government. And I hope that this can change in the future. And I know we've put in some motions in the past to address that issue. Yeah, UBCM, I don't, I think the thing that I got the most value out of was connecting with other elected officials from across the province, and that was really the big thing that was missing on this one. So I certainly appreciate the being there in person, and I think that's, as well as it being a lot more productive on the floor, where you don't have to wait 2 minutes for every vote to come in. It was a bit tedious. Yeah, getting some feedback on curbside organics. There's a few people that do want to opt out. I keep pointing them to my blog as to why that's not an option, and I did want to point out that those folks online that are saying that the bears are going to get the bins, well, the bears are they're going after smell. So whether you have garbage interlaced with food waste, or whether you just have food waste alone, doesn't matter. The bear's still going to go after it. So yes, those green bins are going to get attacked by bears, but I would argue that it's no more than you would get out of your regular garbage being attacked as well. Director McMahon and I also went to a heat pump presentation, and I'm looking forward to future dialogues as to how we can incentivize people on the coast to go to heat pumps, especially looking at some future, some other areas that are already saying that by 2030 you have to have a fossil-free fuel heating source in your home. And if that's coming down the line provincially, then maybe now is the time to go and tell people, hey, if you put in a gas furnace now, you'll have to rip it out in 10 years. And so let's go with some heat pumps. WASOC met on Monday. They were great. They certainly keep everyone on their toes, and they're very enthusiastic and gung ho to be part of the whole picture. And a little bit unfortunate is that they're sort of coming in halfway through the process, and so some of the decisions that are moving forward, they're going, hey, hold on, shouldn't we have been part of this decision as well? And I think they're absolutely right, but it is difficult coming in halfway through the process. And yes, thank you for organizing the Electoral Area Directors meeting on Tuesday. That was great, and it was just good to chat and talk about electoral area issues. And that's it for me for now. Thanks.
Thank you, Director Ties. Up next, I have Director McMahon.
Okay, well, fortunately, other people covered a lot of what I was going to cover. It really has been busy. Last week, we were done UBCM and we didn't have any SCRD meetings, and I thought, oh, look, I've got free time. Ha! I mean, seriously, it's nuts. That $26.70 a week, I think I'm making about 85 cents an hour at this point. Less. Anyway, I won't go back too far. Residents in my area are forming a new neighborhood association, which is great, the Ocean Beach Esplanade Neighborhood Association. Quite a few people have been in touch, and I'm really glad to see that get off the ground. They're having their first meeting, I think they're having their formally founding meeting in about a week. I have been attending a lot of different meetings of the Climate Caucus, the national organization, and I'm also working with the ABICC committee on an upcoming climate summit for Vancouver Island and coastal communities. Unfortunately, the summit was scheduled in advance, just on the same day that our round one budget deliberations are going to happen, and I wouldn't miss budget for anything. So I'm sending my alternate director to that summit, and some of you might think about doing the same thing. They're going to be asking for some input in advance, so it gives us an opportunity to think through some questions before folks are thrown into the summit. If anybody has questions, you can ask me. I'm on the organizing committee because I don't have enough to do. Last week was the area directors electoral area meeting for UBCM, and that was interesting. It was quite different than the last one that I went to that was in person, and I frankly liked it better. And people at that summit said that we can do it a lot more frequently because we're meeting online by Zoom now, and it makes it far more accessible for people from rural areas. The folks from the Central Coast, for instance, have to fly out from places like Bella Bella to try and attend meetings. This, so long as people have adequate internet access, another big issue, it's a really good opportunity. So I thought that meeting went very well. I also liked the fact that because there was an election, it was not led by provincial staff. The previous meeting that I went to felt like we were being lectured, and I got a bit tired of it. And this one was much more rural directors bringing up their issues. Is somebody having a rainstorm, or is that my system that's making a loud?
I hear it, but I don't know if it's me or if it's you.
All right. Fine.
Oh, the rain subsided. It's gone now.
Cool. Yes. So at that forum, I presented a motion to try and get UBCM to look into how rural areas can get more public consultation from provincial ministries on issues that affect our areas. Because we don't have jurisdiction, but we have the problems. And stormwater is only one example. And it's a really big problem, and it's all across the province. So we're going to go at it this time. Rather than trying to beat up on Modi, which doesn't work, we're going to go at it through the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and see if we can get any traction there. And I'm working with rural directors from anywhere that want to talk to me. We are mightier as a group. It could be Team Rural Directors BC. And we get a lot more done than right now. We are fighting these issues one rural area at a time across the province. And it's just a waste of everybody's time, frankly. I enjoyed our rural directors meeting. It was nice to get together again. I wrote some newsletters. I did research. And I answered the phone and email a lot. It's been busy in Area E. It's not, issues don't distribute themselves evenly across the year. They all happen at once. And the last week was kind of the perfect storm for Area E, between cannabis in the ALR and the threatened closing of the second entrance of Poplar's mobile home park, which has popped up again, and civic addressing issues, and people camped out beside roadsides, and yeah, it goes on and on and on. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Director McMahon, and great job with the initiative of bringing that forward. It was certainly an issue at the UBCM Electoral Area Forum, because it was certainly an issue that has a lot of traction, and across the province there was a number of directors that said, "Hey, I'm on board with that." So thank you so much for bringing that forward, and looking forward to having more conversations with more frequently, which is something that a number of us have asked for now. So hopefully we see, even if it's twice a year or quarterly, even just to, get the Team Electoral Area Director BC going. It's a longer hashtag though. Director Toth?
Sure. I will keep it nice and short. I've been out of town. I have nothing to report. I attended UBCM along with everybody else here. So that's my report.
Excellent. Thank you, Director Toth. Director Kroll?
I thought I could keep it briefer than Director Toth, but he beat me to it. I just wanted to, it has been busy. I enjoyed the ministers' meetings. I found the UBCM format actually physically more tiring than being there in the presence. Trying to keep track of things on screen, and because you're doing it on a screen, you tend to try not to do, but you end up doing multitasking, and then you have to get into catch-up mode. So I found it a very challenging format. I think it was on Wednesday after the meetings ended, and I ended up going and doing a physical testing that we have to do annually for search and rescue, where you have to do things, raise and lower an anchor, heave lines, throw a Kisbee ring, do a self-rescue test where you go off the boat full gear, swim the length of the boat, duck under an overturned boat, come back out, climb back into the boat. And that, after 8 hours of UBCM, was sort of refreshing. We immediately after that got a call up to Davis Bay for a kiteboarder down. So it was an interesting day, but Director Ties mentioned not having the contact with people, not meeting people, not exchanging cards. I found the trade show very difficult to deal with. So, it gave us an alternate platform to deal with, but I think it could be refined. Speaking of virtual and social media, the town of Gibson's just had a situation come up where we were approached to consider selling a piece of town land. And we used social media and did an online survey, which really helped us. We had a fairly good response from citizens. It gave the council some direction moving forward, whether we should proceed with the development. So I'm sort of hoping with some of the things that we have coming up on the board and the fact we have a new communications person in place, that we might be able to utilize some of these tools to help us make some decisions with, particularly in rural areas where there might be varying things that input and going to a public hearing is, one option, but this just simple online survey, it was 4 or 5 questions, and you had a chance of ticking boxes or writing in comments, and it gave us a great tool for being a little more transparent and, not appearing that things are happening in the background or back rooms and engaging the public. So it's just something that, I hope we can share on the regional district board as well. And that's about it from Gibson's.
Thank you, Director Kroll. Up next, I have Director Seegers, please.
Sorry, I'm not going to be short. A few things. One of the meetings that District of Sechelt led on at UBCM was around archaeological costs. So we're in the process of rebuilding Trail Avenue. And the section that we're doing, which is just going up past Surf Circle, so where you would turn into the Water Resource Center, our costs are approaching $400,000 for archaeological work. So we approved an application last night for the remainder of Trail Avenue to the Investing in Canada Infrastructure program. And we actually put in a line item for archaeological costs. We've never done that before in an application, but we have done that. And one of the requests that we had with the archaeological branch was to come and meet with the local governments and give us more information, educate us around the act, what we're looking for, what processes we have to follow, what kind of reports we should be getting. Because one of the requests we made last night to our staff was, we've spent almost $400,000. What came out of that? We don't know. So we're looking at that kind of information. I have to say with UBCM, I am so glad that we had the group text, because we spent 3 days in front of the computer, and having that group text, I actually felt like I wasn't totally separated from everybody else. I knew other people were there and taking part as well. So that made a huge difference for me. So thank you for, doing that. A couple of meetings that I attended, I think some of you were also at the Vital report by the community foundations. It was a collaboration between Foundation of Sunshine Coast, Whistler, Squamish, Bowen Island, and West Vancouver. And what they were looking at is, what are some of the issues that we're all encountering and dealing with, and what are some of them that are unique to the areas. So the report's very good. It is public. Check it out. Some really good information on there. And on September 30th, I attended the Mayor's Forum for the Lower Mainland District Rcmp. One of the conversations that's happening is the City of Surrey is going to be transitioning to their own police force. Now, when they do that, they currently have about 1/10 of all the RCMP members in BC. And some of their members are on the integrated teams, for example. So at this point, they're looking at what are the items that we even have to look at addressing and the impact. So what about training? What about the integrated teams? What about administration, right? So they're trying to determine what that will look like. They don't know which of the members that currently work there are going to want to move over to the police force, and maybe there's going to be a whole bunch of RCMP officers that are surplus that will be available to other municipalities. Don't know. So there's all kinds of things being sorted out there. Once they transition, they're anticipated to be the 15th or 16th largest police service in Canada. So there will be some financial implications for us, for the town of Gibsons, and probably for the regional district as well as this goes forward. And more information will be coming out when that's ready. Vancouver Coastal Health has resumed their weekly calls with the local governments in their service area. So Chair Pratt and I took part in a call on Friday. There isn't one this week, but going forward, there'll be one every week after that. Sunshine Coast Homelessness Advisory Committee. I'm probably stealing some of, oh no, Director Crowell's already gone. So the applications close at the end of October for residents for the Gibson Supporting Housing Facility. So the service providers are also assisting in getting those applications in. They all go into BC Housing. BC Housing does the initial cut. They come to the Sunshine Coast, and a local team will actually do interviews. They will cut some more probably, but probably end up with 50, applications or something, which they'll then narrow down through one-on-one interviews. And they're anticipating now that the facility will open in early January, is what they said at the meeting the other day. For those of you who are familiar with Nick Gaskin, he's been the manager at Rain City for a number of years. It's actually official. They just sent out the emails. He is moving over to work with the Sechelt Nation as the health manager. His last day is tomorrow. And then Chair Pratt and I, Mayor Beamish, and a number of other people took part in an inaugural meeting of the Capilano University Advisory Committee meeting. So they're setting up this group so that we have active dialogue going forward. So we can feed into them initiatives that are happening in our areas, and they can look at how can they be relevant and also keep us apprised of what they're doing. So we're hoping good things come out of that. Couple of other things. We tasked staff last night with applying for a childcare grant for a new childcare facility in Sechelt. The deadline for applications is November 1st, so it's a quick turnaround, but we're hoping to get that application in. There's $3 million available, 100% funding for turnkey operations. And then finally, I announced this last night too. We recently received confirmation that we were approved for the BC Air Access Grant for our airport runway improvements. And we'll have a press release coming out early next week. This will resurface the existing runway, so take up the asphalt that's on there, fix the base, resurface that, and add an additional 700 feet on the end. That's my report.
Terrific. Thank you, Director Seegers. So you've taken a number of things off my list now, too. So, we've talked extensively about UBCM, ministry meetings, the Sunshine Coast Leaders meetings. Nobody mentioned it. So we've reconvened our about every 2 weeks, I think, is what our schedule is right now for our Member of Parliament hosts a Sunshine Coast Leaders meeting with the mayor's chief, our MLA when it's not during election season, and myself along with their constituency assistants. So we've started those meetings again, just touching base. It's just connecting with one another, find out what's going on. I attended the Islands Trust meeting last week. That was they have a different structure than we do, and it's really interesting to be a part of that. And those are public meetings as well. It's available on the Islands Trust website for the next one if you'd like to attend, even if it's just part of it as an observer. Really appreciated the UBCM Rural Directors Forum and then our Rural Directors meeting that we had earlier this week too. Those Rural Director meetings locally, we're going to be doing those on a quarterly basis. So because the rural areas have a lot of different issues, and what's happening in the municipal. So it's nice to be able to bounce ideas off of one another and see where we have commonalities, even just locally on our coast. Here in Half Moon Bay, over there in Half Moon Bay, seeing as I'm in Alberta right now, I will be starting up my my community conversation series again. My next one is planned for October 19th, so I'm looking forward to that. And other than that, that's all I have on my list for today. And if there's nothing that anyone wanted to add that twigged to mind, because it has been a month since our last, since everybody gave a board report. So if you wanted, if there was something else that you remembered, going once, going twice, sold. Okay, nothing else. That's director's reports for today. So we have no new business, but we do have an in-camera session for today. We have we have no members of the public anymore. All those bylaw readings must have scared them away. I guess what we'll do is I will, if there is anyone on YouTube that wants to ask a question, I don't know if they can't type it in there, I don't believe, but if there have been any questions that have come up, we'll address them after. No, they cannot. Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, you cannot ask a question, but you're certainly welcome to email it to us after, and we will get you a response as quickly as possible, info@scrd.ca, or to one of the directors within your area. All of our email addresses are on our scrd.ca website. So I will make that motion that the public, or I will ask for a motion that the public be excluded from attendance at the meeting in accordance with Section 91A and C of the Community Charter. Personal information about identifiable. I'll leave it there because apparently I stopped being able to speak. Moved Director Seegers, seconded Director Kroll. All those in favor? Motion carries. Were there any questions or anything come up from anyone? Okay, so Director Hiltz? Darnell, did you want to take that?
They started them because numbers are dropping. There wasn't a lot of change. Now, because numbers are rising and we're heading into flu season, they're starting up the respiratory clinics again, etc. So they just felt it's time to be connected.
Thank you, everyone, and welcome back to your regularly scheduled Sunshine Coast Regional District Board meeting of October the 8th, 2020. If you're still with us, thank you for remaining with us. You're in time for, if you've just joined us, you're in time for us to adjourn. May I have a motion to adjourn, please, from my directors? So moved and seconded. All those in favor? Motion carries. Everyone have a happy Thanksgiving and stay safe, stay kind, and be healthy. We'll see you all soon.
Take care.
Take care, everyone.